Hi folks, today we're going to learn about multiplication of fraction and I want to begin with this real life example. So in this image you can see half an apple and this is how we write half 1 over 2. And let's say we want to multiply half by 3. What we mean here is half multiplied by 3. What we mean is 3 times half. Okay, and this is how practically we can show 3 times half. So 3 times half an apple you can see in this image, and that we can write 3 over 2, which is 3 halves. So this is straightforward. Half multiplied by 3 means half 3 times, like we see here, half an apple 3 times, and which is equal to 3 half. So 1 half multiplied by 3 is equal to 3 half. This is how we actually do it. Here, this pictorial or real life presentation is just for you to understand conceptually. This is usually you get the problem. So half multiplied by 3, and by when we say half 3 times, actually what it means adding half 3 times. So multiplication is repeated addition too. So this I have just added for you. Generally when we don't do this, but this is just for you to see conceptually. 3 times, when we add 3 times half, actually it becomes 3 halves. This is the procedure how we do it. So we multiply numerator with numerator and denominator with denominator. So in this case numerator is 1, and in this case we can write this in fractional form. So 3 over 1. So numerator is 3. So 1 by 3 is 3, and then denominator is 2, and 2 by 1 is 2, so 3 halves. That is what we saw here, right? And we can change it into mixed fraction, 1 whole and 1 half. So we can see here that these two halves of an apple make 1 whole, and this is another half. So 1 whole, 1 half are 3 halves. So this is how the fraction multiplication of fraction works. This is the same like we do in the whole numbers. So a number of times, when we say multiply number by number of times. All right, so let's look at another problem. Here we can see half an apple again, like we saw earlier. And this is how we write 1 over 2 or half. And let's say we want to multiply it by half. So what do we mean here? Well, we mean that half multiplied by half means half time half. And what is half time half? Half time half is actually half of half. Okay, so when we say half multiplied by half, or multiplying this half an apple, what we mean is half of this half. Okay, and half of for example, this apple is going to be a quarter. So when we split this half of apple into two halves, each is going to be a quarter. So half of an apple is a quarter, and this is how we write 1/4. So half multiplied by half is equal to 1/4 or 1 over 2. Okay, and this is how procedurally we work. Half multiplied by half, or 1 over 2 multiplied by 1 over 2 is equal to 1 multiplied by 1 and 2 multiplied by 2, because we procedurally we just multiply numerator with numerator and denominator with denominator, and the answer is 1/4, like we saw here. So half of half is 1/4. Okay, and we practically we can see here half of half is 1/4. So it is important in mathematics when we solve a problem, especially these fraction problems, we need to understand what when there's a problem, what it actually means. So half multiplied by half means half time half, or half of a half. Okay, and that's what we did in the earlier example as well. Half time half, or like we said 3 times half in the earlier example. Okay, so let's look at some more examples. Okay, what 1 over 4 multiplied by 4, or quarter 4 times. Conceptually, this is quarter, and quarter 4 times. Now we know in our real lives we frequently see quarters. So 4 times quarter is equal to 1, because 4 quarters added is equal to 1. Okay, so what it means is 4 times a quarter. Okay, and 4 times a quarter is equal to 1. And procedurally, this is what we do: 1 multiplied by 4. This 4 can be written 4 over 1. That's what we have done here. Now numerator with numerator multiplied by numerator, 1 times 4 or 4 times 1 is equal to 4, and 1 times 4 is equal to 4. So 4 over 4 means 4 quarters. Okay, so this shows 4 quarters. 4 quarters are equal to 1. Or we can just simplify 1 over 1, which is equal to 1. Okay, so let's look at another problem. 4 half times. Okay, so probably in early example you had a little bit trouble understanding, like when we say half time half, this might help you clear. So half times 4. What is half time 4? Well, half time 4 is actually 2. In other words, we are saying half of 4. And procedurally, this is how we done. 4 1 time is 4. Okay, and 1 2 times is 2. Now 4 over 2 actually can be simplified, or is equal to 2, because if 1 is equally divided into 2 parts, we have such 4 parts, and 4 parts are equal to 4 halves are equal to 2. So this is how it works. But remember, you have to understand conceptually when there's a problem, what actually it means. Okay, so let's build on our understanding further. So half multiplied by a quarter. What it actually means? Actually means quarter of a half. Now quarter of a half. Now remember, when we say quarter, that means a fourth part. Now we are saying what is the fourth part of a half. Okay, so quarter of a half, or half time, quarter time a half. So procedure, this is what actually it means. Quarter of a half is equal to 1/8. Okay, and simply this is how we do. 1 times 1 is equal to 1, and 4 times 2 is equal to 8. So now we know that 1/8 part is actually quarter of a half, because from a whole we can make 8/8 parts. All right, and if a whole has 8/8 parts, half has 4/8 parts, and if half has 4/8 parts, quarter of it is going to be 1/8. Okay, so this is how the reasoning, how it can be explained. Let's look at this example. Half of 8/10, or 8 over 10 multiplied by 1 over 2, what it actually means is that half of 8/10, or half time 8/10. Now simply we can, if we understand conceptually, we can say half of 8/10 is 4/10. Okay, because there are 8/10 here, and 4/10 is going to be half. Okay, this is procedurally how it works. So half of 8/10 multiplied by half, so 1 times 8 is equal to 8, and 2 times 10 is equal to 20. Now we can simplify it into 820 into 4/10. So that's why the answer is 4/10. But we can conceptually, we know that half of 8/10 is 4/10, and that's what we see here, right? Okay, let's look at some more problems. This time we are multiplying 3 numbers, and out of these 3 numbers, 2 are fractions. So 1 over 2 multiplied by 1 over 4 multiplied by 3, or half multiplied by a quarter, or, and whatever the answer or result is here, multiplied by 3. Okay, and conceptually what we are saying here, we are saying half, quarter of a half, that we have seen earlier too, and then whatever is quarter of a half multiplied by 3, or 3 times. Okay, and this is so there are 2 ways to do it. So what we usually do is multiply these first 2 fractions, and first 2 fractions, here we can see that half multiplied by quarter is equal to 1/8, and that we saw earlier, discussed conceptually why 1/8 is quarter of a half, and procedurally 1 multiplied by 1 is equal to 1, and 4 times is equal to 8. Okay, and now the answer of these multiplication of these 2 fractions is 1/8. We can multiply 1/8 by 3, or 3 times 1/8 is equal to 3/8. Okay, and we can do it together as well. So all numerators 1 2 3 multiply together, and all denominators 2, 4, and the denominator here is 1. So multiply together. 1 times 1 is 1, and 3 times 1 is equal to 3. 4 times 2 is 8, and 1 times 8 is 8. So 3 8s. That's what we saw here. So this is how it works. You have any number of fractions or whole numbers we can write in fractional forms. We just give, put a fraction line and write 1 below it. Right? So we can just multiply numerator with numerators and denominator with denominators. Okay, and conceptually we can see why it is 3/8. Why answer of this is 3/8. Let's look at another example. 8 tenths multiplied by 1 half, and whatever the result is multiplied by half. Okay. Now we know that half of 8 tenths is 4 tenths, and procedure this is how we do. 1 times 8 is 8, and 2 times 10 is 20, so 8 over 20. A simplified version of 820 is 4 tenths, and we know that half of 8 tenths is 4 tenths. Okay. Now next step says whatever the result of this is half of that, so half of 4 tenths. Half of 4 tenths, we know that half of 4 tenths is 2 tenths. This is how we procedurally do. 1 times 4 is 4, and 2 times 10 is 20. For 20, that we can, another simplified version of this is 2 tenths. All right. So half of 4 tenths is 2 tenths, or 1/5. That is the simplified version of that, and we can do it all together. All numerators multiplied and all denominators multiplied, and we have the same answer. So this is how it works procedurally, and so you don't understand math until you understand what this means, and that's why I'm discussing with you. When we have 8 tenths multiplied by half, what it actually means. Okay, so you have to focus on understanding what actually, when there is a problem, what actually it means, and then apply procedures to solve it. Okay, let's solve some application problems, because fraction of multiplication is very frequently applied in daily life, in our professional lives, in other settings. So let's look at this problem. This is describing a situation where multiplication of fraction can be applied. A class plans to serve 1/8 cake per person for a class party. 30 students and 6 teachers are invited to this party. How many cakes do they need? So class has 30 students, 6 teachers are also invited, and they have planned that they are going to serve 1/8 cake per person, okay, apart from maybe other food. So now first we calculate the number of people and number of persons attending this party. So 30 plus 6 teachers, 30 students, 6 teachers, 36. And simply what we do is, because 1/8 they are going to serve 1/8 of a cake, so we multiply 1/8 by 36. So in other words, we are saying 1/8 36 times, okay, because they will serve 1/8 cake to 36 people. That's what they're planning. So that they will need 1/8 of a cake 36 times, okay. And this is the simple procedure that we did earlier. 36 over 8, because 36 1 times is 36, and 8 1 times is 8, okay. And 36 over 8 is actually 4 whole 4 over 8, and 4 over 8 is actually half. So 4.5 cake they need to serve 36 people 1/8 of a cake. Now, generally we don't get cakes in halves, so probably they will need to buy 5 full cakes, but this is the exact amount they need to serve 36 people 1/8 of a cake. Okay, and let's look at another problem. A party planner was asked to arrange 2.5 naan per person for a party of 200 people. How many full naans are needed? Now, they are planning that each person on average probably will they will need to serve 2.5 naans, and 200 people are invited of attending this party. So now they need to calculate how many naans they need. So it is simple: 200 people, 2.5 times, because each is gonna get 2.5 none. This is what the plan is. So procedurally, we solve 200. We can write 200 over 1 multiplied by, and this is changed into improper fraction. 5 halves are 5 over 2. So 205 times is 1000, and 2 1 times is 2, and it is equal to 500. So they need 500 naans to serve 200 people, 2.5 naan. Okay. So this is how we use the fraction, multiplication of fraction in our daily life. These are just two examples. All right, so here are some examples, exercise problems for you to work on. Okay, and if you have trouble solving these, just go back and watch the problems that we have solved earlier. And here are some practical life examples for you, problems for you to solve. And I'll probably create some videos to show the solutions to these problems. And that's why you need to follow Dr. Chang's Academy, subscribe our channel on YouTube, and follow Dr. Chang's Academy on Facebook. And happy learning, math.